Can you guys see that? Okay, great. We will give it until 11:02 and then we'll get started. And if it's just you guys, if you have questions, feel free to just ask me. You can turn your mic off and just interrupt me because there aren't very many of us. Is this because everyone learned Google Slides this month? They said no more PowerPoint. Google Slides is better.
Are you doing Google Slides tomorrow?
No, I'm not teaching that one.
Okay.
But I know I had a couple people reach out after the last class and ask me some questions about Google Slides. So I could tell there was interest in that, especially because it's free. I get that. So. All right, I said 11:02, so we will get started. Thank you too for being here. I appreciate your time. Were you both in the last class? No, okay, Jessica, you weren't, but Rob, you were. I remember you. So in the last class, we went over really basic stuff and kind of just how to get started in PowerPoint. And in this one, I put together just some kind of tips and tricks to take your PowerPoint to the next level and add in some cool features. So we will get started. The first thing that I want to show you guys how to do is how to customize your toolbar. So your toolbar is up here. And up in this section, if you're doing a certain action pretty frequently, it's helpful to have it up in this toolbar just for quick access. And this is super easy to do. All you need to do is click this little down arrow here and then click more commands. And a bunch of different commands are going to pop up right here. And you can add really any of them that you want. For me, I'm going to put in bullets because I use that a lot. And all you have to do once you've selected it is click this arrow over button, and then it's going to be added here. Maybe I'll do duplicate slide. That's a good one to have up there. Put that over and then click save. And then as you can see, all those are added up here in my toolbar. And then the same way, if you want to take anything out, all you have to do is click the down arrow, go back to more commands, and then click it and either put it over like this, or you can do the minus button, save it, and then your toolbar goes back to what it originally was. So that's super simple, but it's nice just to have for quick access. So next, I'm going to show you guys a little bit about Smart Art. Do either of you know much about that? Okay, so obviously when you have bullets or just plain text in your slide, it can be pretty boring looking. And I'm just going to go ahead and copy this down here a couple of times. And then I'm going to alt click and drag to make another copy. And then alt click and drag again to make another copy. And then once you have that, this is just obviously a really rough example, but the Smart Art looks a lot better if you have multiple sections. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this, go to home, and then click on Convert Smart Art right here. Click this down arrow, and then I think you guys are probably blocking that in your view too. you can choose from a whole variety of different types of diagrams. This works, I mean, if you're doing like an organizational chart, or if you just want to have more interesting looking bullets, you can click on something like this, and then it's going to change your bullets and just kind of spice them up a little bit. And you have all these options once you have created that to customize the way it looks. You can kind of add some dimension to it. You can make it 3D and all sorts of weird angles and laying down. I don't know who would do that because you can't really read it that well. And then you can also change the colors, and you can change the type and all that. And when you have Smart Art, it's going to pop up over here with a Smart Art text box, and you can make all your edits in here. Because if you do choose to do kind of one of the more wild designs, it can be hard to edit right in here, but you still can if you want to. You could, add whatever you want in there, and then you can add whatever you want here too. So that's one version. You could go back and you could make these circles, kind of like a Venn diagram. And you can do the same exact type of thing with this as well. You can customize the different types of shapes. You can change the colors again. If we want to do something like this pyramid here, and the same thing, you can kind of customize it however you want, whatever direction you want. But it's just kind of a quick and easy way to make your presentation look a little bit more professional and fun than just plain boring bullets. I don't typically like to use those very much. Is that making sense to you guys? Pretty easy? Okay, great. So next, this is another pretty simple tool here, but it can definitely save you some time if you're doing a lot of shape utilizing inside of your PowerPoint. So here, obviously, these aren't aligned. And sometimes when I'm making a presentation, I'll just kind of drag random shapes in, and they'll be all over the place and they look horrible. So a really quick and fast way to fix that is to select all of your shapes, go to shape format, click down on arrange, and then there's this align option. And so that's going to allow you to either distribute this evenly or align it. So I want this to align vertically across the slide. So I'm just going to click align middle, and it's so much faster than trying to drag them all together. And you could also distribute them horizontally so that they're even there, or distribute them vertically. You can align them in a bunch of different ways. Oops, didn't mean to do that. So another thing that you can do when you have all these shapes together is say that now that you have them all the same size, you want to make sure that when you're adjusting something, you're scaling them all the same. So you can do the same thing and select all the shapes, right click on them, and then click group. And then once you have them grouped, you can just shift, click, and drag, and they'll all be the same size, which is really convenient too, because I have a hard time getting them all perfectly the same if I do them separately. And then if you're done aligning them and you want to be able to select them individually again, all you have to do is right click again, group, and then ungroup, and they'll go right back to their original. And PowerPoint has come a really long way. And I know we talked about it a little bit in the last class, in that, you have these guides now, which you didn't used to have, that helps you align them. But I think that tool is really helpful if you need to do a lot of shapes at one time. So those are just a couple of like quick little easy things that are good tips to have. And in this next one, I'm going to show you how to remove a background image. So this is definitely not like the most perfect tool, but for PowerPoint, I think this is a really awesome little feature that they've included. I mean, really, it's come such a long way that I find so many similarities in PowerPoint to design programs that I use, which is crazy because PowerPoint is PowerPoint. And it's really awesome to have these features. So a good kind of rule of thumb for when you're going to remove a background image is to pick an image that has a lot of contrast in it. So, I mean, obviously, if I was going to put this on a white background, it doesn't really matter. I don't really need to remove the background because it'll blend. But if I'm going to put it on a color background or have a picture in the background or something along those lines, I'm going to want to remove it. So it's very easy. And all you have to do here is click on your image, go to picture format, and then click on remove background. And what it's going to do is highlight in purple what it identifies as the background. And in a high contrast image, it's usually going to get it mostly right, like 90% right. And then all you have to do is, oops, do that again, is choose an area like here. Obviously that needs to come back. So I would click mark areas to keep and then click on that and it'll come back. And you can also outline it yourself and try to get a little bit of a smoother edge because here it is a little bit bumpy. And see if I do that, the background's kind of coming back. And then if I want to remove that area again, just click on mark areas to remove and then kind of draw over it. You can circle it to here. Just get rid of that and then you can just click keep changes and you have your little background list cat there. So again, that purple section will be what it's reading as to remove, and everything outside of the purple section will remain. And again, this is not like the most beautiful example. It's very jagged looking, but it's a really, I think it does a really good job of generally sensing the background. I've tested it with a couple of different images and it works pretty well. So very easy little tip there, but can kind of help make your presentation look a little bit more polished. Next, we're going to go to using a video as a slide background. So for this one, I'm going to present the show to show you how it looks. And then as you can see, this video will play as you go to that slide. So this is also pretty easy. All these things are pretty straightforward in terms of implementation, which is nice because they look complicated, but they're not complicated. So here I'm gonna want to send you guys this in the chat. Okay. So for this, I'm gonna go to the internet here. And this is a great tool for royalty-free stock video. So you can use this for whatever, because since it's royalty-free, it's free for commercial and personal use. And especially for slide presentations, I don't really think anyone would be coming after you for copyright claims in the first place, but this is just really helpful to have. And there's all different kinds of things. I mean, you could do ocean or something like this, and it's going to give you tons of different stock video, and it's super easy to download. Just free download, and it'll download down here into your bar, and you just drag it to your desktop. So I already picked out a video for what I'm going to show you guys, and this is really simple too. So I usually like to put things on my desktop if I need to access them quickly, just because I hate searching through files. So I picked this little video here, and I'm just going to click it and drag it in. And we have our little dog in here. But as you can see, you know, when you're in this view, he's not going to do anything. And when you go to your slideshow, if you click on him, he'll start moving around. But I personally like for the video to start automatically when I'm clicking into the next slide. So you can customize your settings here by going to playback. And in playback, it gives you all these options for how you want to customize your video. So for me, I want to have it loop until it stops, and then change up here where it says start. You go from click sequence to automatically. So if I go here, and then I click over to my next one, he'll start moving on his own. And I just think he's so cute. And then you can also adjust that as well. If you decide you don't want it to loop, you just want it to rewind after playing, you can do that as well. You can hide it during the show, which I don't really know why you would do that if it's a video and you want people to see it, but you can do that if you want to. And you can also add this in by going to insert video and then move from file. And I would go ahead and add him back in that way. And typically now, this presentation is in 16:9 ratio, and most video that you're going to download will be in the 16:9 ratio as well. So you typically can just kind of drag it in, but if it's not, you just stretch it out like any other image or picture. It's really easy to do that too. Okay, so now I know we kind of touched on this in the last presentation, but we didn't fully get to it. So I'm going to play this for you guys here. And then let me know if you can hear it on the next slide. Okay, so I don't tend to use a whole lot of sound in my presentations, but it is helpful if you want to create something a little bit more unique. And this is pretty easy as well. I have another link for you guys for some free sound effects too. Let's send you that. Okay. And both of these file types that it's going to offer you on this website should work in PowerPoint. There is the WAV and the MP3. They both should work perfectly fine in here. I went for MP3 just because that's a file format that I use more frequently and I'm more comfortable with. So I put this picture in here for some context so that it's not just playing a random audio file. And so you're going to go back to insert, click on audio. I saved it to my computer, so audio from file. And then it is in this folder and it's right here. And so this little speaker will show up, and then obviously like a play button and a fast forward and a backward and a volume. But similarly, I don't want this to show up in my presentation. I don't want to be able to see that. So I'm just going to go to playback. And this one I do want to hide during show. I want to rewind it after playing. And I don't want to play it across all slides, but you could definitely do that. And the same thing, I want it to be automatic so that as soon as I go to that next slide, it's going to start. And makes sense so far? All good? Are you sure? Okay. That looks like a hesitant head nod. So again, just this insert section is really your best friend in PowerPoint these days, just because there's so much customization that you can do. So same thing, you'd go to the same exact place that you went for your video to do your audio. They're conveniently located next to each other. So next we're going to create a graphic hyperlink. This is also super easy. Go back to present mode, because a lot of these actions, they're not going to work when you're in your editing preview. And so it'll seem like it's not working, but then as soon as you go to play your show, it will work. So I'm going to go here, and then this is my hyperlinked image. If I click on it, it's going to go to this article about mountains. If you're presenting and you want to quickly access something from the internet, this is a really good way to do it. So I just copied my link there to show you guys how to do this on the next slide. And all you have to do here is click on your image, right click, and you're going to go to hyperlink. Click on hyperlink, and then you'll have this section where you can put in the address and then click OK. And it's as easy as that, really. Now you can see this cursor will change when it goes over the image, which is a good way to know that it's working. And then you can see the link shows up when I hover over it. And if you decide you don't want the hyperlink, same exact thing. You can either open or edit, and then just click remove. And you can also add in email addresses and different things from your slide. So if you wanted to go to a different slide by clicking on it, you can do that. So say we want to go to the previous slide, and it'll go to the last slide. If you need to quick reference anything, that's pretty helpful to know too. And we'll edit it again. And you can also put in an email address so that when you click on it, it automatically will pull up an email with the email populated. And along that same vein here, if you want to change the color of an image that you have, you click on your image, you're going to go to picture format and then color. And you can do all sorts of crazy stuff. You can make it really any color that you want. You can click on picture color options, which will allow you to adjust. If you don't click out of it, it will let you adjust. Adjust some of the elements on your own. You can make it more saturated. You can adjust the color temperature. If you decide you hate what you did, just click reset. Here you can also adjust the transparency, and you can crop it down here. And then if you want to do kind of a custom color, you can go here, and it's your theme colors. Move you guys down a little. And then like we talked about in our last presentation, you can go to more colors, and then you can customize it with a hex code or do your eyedropper and use any of these tools as well. Make it red, something like that. So that's just kind of a cool way to quickly change the color and not have to put it in Photoshop or anything like that. And you also have all of these other options right here as well. Like you can adjust your transparency like this, where you don't have to slide it on a scale. You can just directly look at it, say I want it to be this transparent. And you can also add artistic effects to it, which can be kind of weird sometimes. There's like the plastic wrap one that's in Photoshop. Don't really know why that exists in Photoshop. I think I've used it once. Make it look like a painting, stucco, whatever you want. So those are just some kind of cool, quick ways. And you can also change the framing if you want it to be a circle or a circle with a reflection or a square with a reflection or anything like that. Pretty simple, and it's all conveniently right here in your format section, which is another section of PowerPoint that has really been helpful for me to use. Good, makes sense? Okay. All right, so now we're gonna go to merging shapes. And this is just another one of those things where if you just wanna get really creative with your presentation and be creating elements that are unique to your presentation that you maybe can't find in a theme, these are some really helpful tools. You can unite shapes, subtract from shapes, combine shapes, and intersect them. So union is exactly what it sounds like. It becomes one object on its own. subtracting, same thing, pretty straightforward. Allows you to kind of make like a, this is not really a crescent moon, it's what, waxing, waning, I don't know the correct terminology. And then this is when you combine two shapes, it will subtract the intersection of them. So the outside of the shapes will stay and the area where they overlap will go away. And then the intersect is the exact opposite of that. The area where it's overlapping will stay and the surrounding shape will go away. So I will show you guys how to do that. We're going to go to Insert, click on Shapes. We'll click the circle again. Just gonna shift and drag. So for all of these, you have to have two shapes or the option isn't even gonna show up because you can see up here, it's grayed out. So I'm just gonna do the Alt click and drag again for this. And I'm gonna select them both and copy it a couple times because I'll need two shapes for all of them. So for this one, just simply drag this over this. Make sure you select both and then now you have the option. So here we're going to unite them and then it's one object. And that's really similar to the group function. You could go here and you could do group and it would do the exact same thing. But if you're doing a bunch of shapes at once, this is just a convenient place to have that option. For this one, I'm going to drag this over this. And one note on this particular tool is whatever you select first is going to be the dominant, like remaining shape. And the thing you select second will be what is cut out. So here I want it to be this shape. So I'm going to click on this first, shift, click on that second, and then go here to subtract. So you can see this side, since I clicked it first, stayed. The other one subtracted. That's more of a crescent moon. So for combine, similar, super easy. This would be good if you combine. And as you can see, that part went away. Intersect, same thing. And that middle section stayed. And then fragment is just where it basically cuts out a, like almost like a border on it so that it's really subtle. And this is something that you could create kind of on your own anyway with some other tools. But the nice thing about this is that you have all of these individual shapes now and you can kind of play with those as well. So again, that's up here in this upper left corner in your shape format. And it will only show up as an option if you have more than one shape selected. And you can definitely get pretty creative here too. You can, you know, change your shape color. You can outline it. And again, just really customize this to however you want. And it works with all different types of shapes too. So if we wanted to do a star here, you click on this first and that second and subtract. And now you have this really weird shape that I don't know what it is, but it can make your presentation very unique. Does that all make sense? Okay, great. All right, so now I'm going to show you guys how to make 3D shapes and use shape effects, which is also in that same shape format section. So as you can see, I put a couple of examples of what we're trying to attain here on the side. And, you know, you can create shadows and reflections, a little bit of bevel and create a more three-dimensional look. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to do that. Going to insert another shape here. And then I'm going to make a bunch of copies by alt clicking and dragging again. And so for this one, it's again in your shape format section. And it'll be this one. It looks kind of like an eraser. And when you hover over, it'll say shape effects. And similarly, like we talked about in the last presentation, if you can't find this, you can always just type it in and it'll show up right here. So for this one, I want to do, I maybe want to have a reflection for it. So it gives you a bunch of options, and you can click into even more options to customize it. Do this one, and then we can change the color like we did on the last set. It's like a little sunrise or something over an ocean. This one we can do a soft edges, which is not going to work as well on a circle because there really aren't edges. But we could do the bevel on this one, and you can customize that however you want. Looks like a button. All different kinds of weird things that you can do. And you can also do these presets that are just really kind of quick ways to put your shape in a different direction, make it more 3D. And for this one, we could do, let's see, we'll do a 3D rotation on this one. Go like that. We'll do some glow, make it glow purple. And then we could go to more glow colors, glow options. You can make it a little more transparent. You can adjust the size of the glow if you want it to be huge. And just kind of do a bunch of creative things with these. I think they're kind of fun just to add in. And again, make you look like a PowerPoint professional. Make sense? We're good? This might be a much faster class with only 2 people. Last time there was questions and stuff, so I was like, okay, maybe I should allot for that, but there's not that many of you. So next we're going to go into editing shapes. Again, same shape format section, because there's really so much that you can do in that section. So we'll go to shape format, and then we're going to go up here to this little edit shape section, and I'm going to go to edit points. So now you can see this went from having a box around it to just having these points when you click edit points. And then this is really similar to what you can do in Adobe Illustrator in creating just whatever shape that you want. I mean, you can make it anything that your heart desires, and you can use these handles as well to customize it and make a giant blob. And then you can, you can do that with really any shape. If we wanted to do maybe a square, same thing. And that's another quick way that you can just change it to a different shape. If you decide you don't want that square, edit points, and you can make it a triangle and just drag it to being anything that you want. And then once you've customized your shape, you can do all the other stuff that we just did to it. You can make it have a shadow, and you can make it a different color. You can bevel it, do whatever. Sometimes it's just fun to play with the shapes, even if you decide you don't want to use them. Does that make sense? Okay, awesome. So in this next section, I'm just going to show you guys a couple of quick presentation tips. So if you're presenting and you want to like highlight something on the screen or use a laser pointer or something like that, this will show you how to do that. So we're going to go to the present mode again, because this is one of those tools that also only works if you are presenting. So we're going to play from current slide. And then all of these are keyboard commands. So say, for example, you're presenting up on a screen in front of a group and you want to just kind of turn off your slide for a second to keep people from being distracted. You can click W. W for white. Click W again, it will come back. You can click B for black, click B again, and it will come back. And then, as you can see here, I just have a regular mouse, but if I can click on Control P or Command P on a Mac, I can circle things, outline them however I want, draw arrows. And then just to get rid of that, all I have to do is click E, I can erase it. Click Control P again, it goes back to a regular mouse. Another cool thing for this one is if you click on a slide number and then click enter, it will automatically go back to that slide. So say here I'm talking about whatever mountain range and I want to go back to the page with the mountain range article on it, which I don't remember which slide that was, but we'll just go with 8, enter, and it will go back to that slide, which is really cool because it saves a lot of time. You don't have to go back and mess around in here at all. And then another one that you can do is you can click Control L equally Command L on a Mac, and then it brings up this little laser pointer that you can use to just point out whatever you want and not blind yourself with it. Those make sense? Pretty easy? Okay, awesome. So for this one, we are going to talk about animating images. So this is a similarly one that's going to work when you are in presenter mode. So I'm going to play from this slide and I'm going to go ahead and click over and we can make our little fish swim across the page. And that's pretty easy to do here. So I just inserted this image of a fish. For this, I didn't remove the background because it's on white, but if your animation is going to go up over text, you definitely should remove the background just so that it doesn't look crazy. So here we're going to go to animations, path animation, and then you can either customize the animation quickly with something that PowerPoint has as a preset, or you can draw freeform. So here we're going to go like this. And then you double click at the end and your fish will swim. Pretty easy. And if you decide that you don't like that animation path, you just delete it. You have your fish again, and then maybe you want to do a circle. You can go from here and then and he just goes in a little circle. So I'm going to show you also with these animations how to do an animation on your slide master. So if you wanted to have an element that was on every single slide, I know we talked about the slide master. Jessica, are you familiar with the slide master at all? Okay, so I'll kind of touch on that a little bit too, just because it's a super helpful tool. And I went over it a little bit in the basic section, but it is considered more of an intermediate advanced tool. So I'm just gonna grab my little frog here because I'm gonna use him, make him a little smaller, use him. So to get to your slide master, you're gonna wanna go to View and then click on Slide Master. And anything that you're getting here, you can also get in this top row as well. I know it's kind of covered up, but you could do the same exact things here by going to View and Master, Slide Master. So your Slide Master is a really helpful tool that basically allows you to customize a bunch of slides at one time. So if there's something that you know for a fact you're going to want on every single slide, the Slide Master is the fastest way to do that instead of having to copy and paste things or drag them. And it's a really cool way to just customize your type as well. If you know you want to use one font throughout your entire presentation, you can do that up here in your initial slide in the Slide Master. So this is like the master of the master, and this section will alter every single slide. And then below that, you have your different styles of slides that are in your theme. So if you want something that's going to be on only one slide, but will consistently be on that slide when it's a certain layout, you can just customize on that one. Like say I want to have an element whenever I have 2 text columns, I'll just put that element on this slide. And then every time I add that in my layout, the element will be there. And that's kind of a nice way if you want to have something on just one, but not all. But then this one, if you want to have it on all of them, it functions really similarly to your main slide presentation. And you can do all the same editing within this slide. So if I wanted to change the font of the title of all my pages, I'm just going to go to Home and then make it this font. And then as you can see, all the titles are going to have automatically changed to that. This is different because it's a presentation title, but you can edit that here and change that one too to something different. So the Slide Master is a really great tool to have just to do things much more quickly. So I'm going to go to get out of the Slide Master. You just click on Slide Master and then close, and you can edit your theme in here. You can edit your colors. You can customize your colors. Like again, like I said, every single thing that you're doing in your main slideshow, you can do in this slideshow as well. So I'm going to close this really quick so I can go and grab my little frog again. I'm going to copy him, go to View, and Master, Slide Master, and I'm going to go up to the top here. And I want the frog to hop along the bottom of every slide. So for this one, I am going to remove the background just because I want to make sure that he doesn't interfere with anything in my presentation. So go to Remove Background, highlights it, Keep Changes. Now he's an independent little frog and his borders are not interfering with my text. And then I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the fish. Click on Animations, Path Animation, Freeform. I'm going to draw him going like this. Double click. And you can see that it applied. And if you look down here, you can see he's on every single slide. So I'm going to go back here and go to View, Slide Master. I'll go to Slideshow. And you can see okay. Let's see. Oh, his animation went away. Let me add that right back in. Animations. And he's hopping down there. Then we'll go here and close out the Slide Master. And then now he should be on every slide. And the first thing that's going to happen when I click on a new slide is my little frog is going to jump. And in the last presentation, we were talking a little bit about how, especially if you're using this to create a portfolio or something related to your own business, the Slide Master is a really great way to kind of customize your branding and add in your logo or something like that so that you're consistently having it on each slide. So we'll go back here and go back to our Slide Master. And then if I want to take out my frog, all I have to do is just go back to that main slide and delete him. And now he's gone. And then really the last thing that I had for this session was embedding fonts. Because when you're sending a presentation to someone, if they don't have that font installed on their computer, it's not going to look right. And that's always a huge frustration if you have to either present on a different computer or work with someone else. So I don't know if you guys are using a Mac or a PC, but on a Mac, you start by going to PowerPoint, then you click on Preferences, Save, and then there's this option down here to embed fonts in the file. And you can either embed only the characters used in the presentation, so that would obviously be just like the words typed in the presentation, which could be a little bit limiting if anyone's trying to edit it. Or you can embed all the characters, which is what I would suggest. This one is, as it says, for reducing file size, but if your presentation isn't that big to begin with, that really doesn't matter. And then for a PC, you go back to the home page. So it's the home up here. And then there should be an option down here to, it should say Options, then Save. And when you click Save, there's an option to embed the fonts as well. And I would definitely recommend doing that if you're sending like a live presentation to someone, or you can always save it out as a PDF if you're just going to present it as it is, although the PDF isn't going to preserve animations or things like that. So you would need your actual PowerPoint file if you want to do that. And that was really all I had. I thought this was going to take longer with more people, but I mean, do you guys have any questions?
Kelly, is there an expiration link, like in order to have someone not be able to extract this, or once you send the PowerPoint, that's it, they own the creative pieces?
So I don't think with PowerPoint that you can do that, but let's see.
I know you can do it with Dropbox, but I wasn't sure if PowerPoint has a...
You can, and that's, I mean, you could always do that. Like you can send it in a platform that allows for an expiration link. But if that person downloads it, obviously that's going to be a problem, but you can set your presentation to read only. And then they can't edit it at all. And you should be able to do that here. Oh, there it is. Sorry. Let's go to File. You can restrict permissions here, or always open read only. You can set passwords on it. So if you want to keep someone from editing it, I would suggest doing that, because with read only, obviously they can only read it. So something like that, and then maybe send it via an expiration link. Like you can set those on Dropbox, like you said. You can limit it and limit permissions on Google Drive. And you can also have them expire on, I think you can set expiration on WeTransfer as well. So that's helpful.
Yeah.
And a good question.
Is there a way to watermark each page maybe that says like Kelly Logan on it, or?
Yeah, that's actually, in doing that, I would say you should do that all in the slide master, because then every single page will have that on it. And then you can save it as read only from there. So I would say, yeah, go and add the watermark in on your slide master, whether it be in the corner or even across the page. If it's like an image of some, like a costume that you designed and you don't want anyone to be able to steal it or something, I would just honestly do that really transparent over the image so that they can't edit it out. And then I would save it as read only so that they can't be pulling stuff. I mean, they could take a screenshot, but if you have that watermark in there, they can't use it.
Gotcha. Cool.
That's good. A question, Kelly. Going back to the ocean video.
Yes.
Can we change the color of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So for this, I just grabbed a random ocean picture so that it would make sense with my water sounds.
Okay.
And you would do that by going to picture format, and then going back to the color like we did on the other ones. And you could change it here, or, you know, if you wanted to make it black and white or something like that, you just click on those. And I think really the the variations with this are pretty much unlimited because of the different colors that you can choose and the transparency and all those different things that you can create. So you could really make it look however you want to look. And you don't have to have it as just, you know, the whole screen either.
Right.
In the audio, you could always scale this down and have it as next to something in the presentation. And when you click on it, it plays.
Mhm.
And just customize that however you want. Like I had made mine to automatically start, but we could do it too when clicked on. So let's see, we'll go back to here. Current slide. That went to the next slide. That was not supposed to do that. But if I change my commands to that it's not going to click to the next one in my presentation, that should work. Let's see. Click on this again. It really wants to take me that next slide, but there should be a way to embed it in the photo. Let's see. Ah, there we go, play sound. When you click on that. So yeah, in that case, I guess you could hide this over here. And
Yeah.
then if you right click on this, go back to action settings, play sound, and then there's also a bunch of sounds in PowerPoint that
Mhm.
are preloaded that you can use. Or if you click on other sound, yeah, it'll let you pull that from your own files. So I'll go back to, let's see, intermediate. Or not. Why is this not cooperating with me? We could do, let's do applause for this. Click OK, and then. So when you click on it, that will work.
Mm-hmm.
And with the sound as well, you can add in all different types of transitions and with all of the imagery. I know Jessica, in the last class, we kind of talked about this as well. I don't go too deep into the transitions because they're pretty straightforward, and you can really create it however you want. I don't tend to use a whole lot of transitions in my presentations because I think they can be a little distracting. There's like a really fine line between it enhancing your presentation or making it kind of tacky. But you can do it, you know, if you want to just have something fade in, that's not anything crazy. And you can adjust how long it lasts, you know, when it's going to come in. You can apply it to all of them if you want to have the same exact transition. You can do it transparently or through black here. So again, those are really customizable. And you can preview them right in here. Have it, and then like the wind. Can't say that I've used that one before.
Nice. Just one more question. Say you're doing a period film and you're shooting fitting photos and they're in color, but the film's going to be shot in black and white. Can you take those color shots and turn them to black and white?
Yeah. So would you be uploading like a reel or would it be just an image?
It could be either or.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you would do that exactly the same as these
Okay.
by going into the picture format and then doing the color again. And here in the color saturation, you can do black and white.
Great.
And you can recolor it to black and white down here.
Great.
And I haven't actually tried that before with a video, but let's see if that.
But would you have to do that for every single picture if you're doing a whole set of pictures?
Yeah,
Really?
you Or I think you should be able to, let's just do a copy of this video. So let's click on both of them, go to color. Okay, so that's something that you can do as well. Say, for example, you had like 15 pictures in your slideshow that you wanted to be black and white. I would suggest you put all of them on one page and then click on all of them by clicking on the first, shift clicking on the next ones. And then that's good to know too. You can do it with a video as well.
Great.
So it looks like he'll play in black and white the whole time. And you could make him blue if you want. But yeah, I would say it's definitely easiest to do it all in one batch. And then I would just copy and paste right from that slide. Like if I had a bunch, of pictures on this slide, and then I wanted just this one, I could just copy it and then paste it here. And one of the good things about PowerPoint too is if you, like in the slide master we were talking about, if you know for a fact something's going to be on every slide, that's the best way to do it. But if it's something on like 3 consecutive slides or something like that, I would say just have it there. And then when you copy and then paste it onto the next slide, it automatically goes into the exact same place, which is a really nice feature that PowerPoint added because it didn't used to do that. So that's another way to do that. And then obviously you can move it. So I would say, especially if you have a bunch of photos of costumes and you want them to be like in the same format on every page, but you just change the description or whatever, this is a good way to do it because then like they're all going to be perfectly aligned as you go through. And I was going to send this to Ivy to send out just in case you guys wanted to reference it. I don't know if that would be helpful. But I did kind of put all the instructions up here for quick access. And then again, my email is in the front or on the homepage. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me. There's only 2 of you, so I don't think that you're gonna bombard me with too many messages. But I will send that to her to give to you guys. And hopefully you guys learned some things in this. I hope it was helpful.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great.
I have one other question.
Okay.
More of a twofold. One is that, does everybody else feel overwhelmed that now we have to become graphic designers on top of the fact that we're costume designers?
Yeah, I mean, I am a graphic designer and not a costume designer. So I only have to do the one thing. But I think also with PowerPoint, one of the great aspects of it, and I'll actually show you this right now too, because you weren't in our last one.
I'll go take that one if you guys do it again. Don't worry. I've done PowerPoint, but I usually use it as a teaching tool and just do slideshows. So I was like, oh, I can jump in. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, it really has come such a long way. I think about when I started using PowerPoint, which was probably in like middle school, and it was not this. I mean, it was so not this. Yeah. And so on the homepage, when you're opening it up, you can go to more themes and have all these themes. And then there's also a way to browse your themes. So let's see, just up here. So if you like wanted a business theme or something like this, you just would click on themes here. And then just different styles are going to show up there. And that's really what I would recommend if you don't want to be completely overwhelmed by all of the ways to customize it. And
starting with the template.
Yeah, and a lot of them are really well designed. And nowadays they used to be so ugly and just like different colors and whatever someone felt like doing. But there's really basically whatever you can think of. And if there isn't one here, I sometimes like to just Google like free PowerPoint templates or something that designers made, because then they're usually really well done if a designer did them. And even the one that I used for this one is it was a pre-designed template. And then that way, if you want to add one element in there of something unique, you know, one shape that you added a reflection to or something like that, you have that, you know, knowledge of how to do that, but you certainly don't have to add like animations and sounds and videos to all of your presentations. I don't think anyone expects that. And especially, I know Ivy told me for the last one that you guys a lot of the time use this for your portfolios. And for portfolios, I mean, clean, straightforward, you know, you're there to showcase your work and not PowerPoint. So I definitely think you can get away with doing something simple and then just maybe have like a little consistent design element on each of your slides. But yeah, this, I would say if you throw your logo in there or something like that, or your name on the master, you're good to go with your portfolio. And like we talked about, you can recolor things and place them in the same place. So I think those are the main things that you would need in your portfolio, and not necessarily like a bunch of smart art unless you felt like adding it in. And that's why in the last one I didn't really cover graphs and stuff like that, because I don't use graphs. And when I have to, I'm angry because I hate stuff that's like math and science. So I'm sure you guys get that.
My other question is that I work with someone who, a showrunner who isn't tech savvy, and usually I don't have to worry about it because she's in the writer's room and she has someone there that pulls anything I send her up in whatever form. But lately when I've been talking to her, just, we don't have a show coming up. I was just coming up with some ideas for something she was writing. She doesn't know how to access anything. Like, I was like, oh, I'll just make a little Pinterest board for you. And I sent it off to her email and she's just, what? She couldn't figure it out. So what is the easiest, most straightforward thing that I could just send someone? I can't Dropbox her. Shoot it. I'm not even good at it, but I'm going to work on it. But I mean, do I have to do it like in Word?
Not necessarily. Does she have a Gmail account?
I'll have to think about that.
Or is it like Hotmail? Are we going way back?
I've tried doing the Google stuff with her,
and that doesn't work either.
Partner that she writes with, I hate to say this, but she's younger. And so he can access everything and show her when she sees her.
Yeah.
So I can see if she has a Gmail and I'll mess around with it.
Well, and let's, from the PowerPoint alone, you can, let's see, you can share from here. I have not done it because I'm guessing you have to sign into Microsoft. But yeah, I mean, if she can't figure out a Pinterest board, that's a tough one. I work with a lot of people like that too, and usually I just have to stand over their shoulder and show them how to do it. But yeah, I'm trying to think of.
And when she's at work, like when we're working, it's fine. But when we're in this funny limbo and she's at home.
Right. Definitely, because you can't always be there to help her. Yeah. I mean, you always could send it in a Word document, or if you wanted to just throw together like a quick PowerPoint of these are the images like that I'm inspired by, or I want you to kind of go off of. That's one way to do it. You could literally put them on one slide and take a screenshot and send it to her. Something like that, where it's just right in the email. She doesn't have to go anywhere. She doesn't even have to open an attachment, like just enter it into the body of the email. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, for sharing, I use Google Drive, but I do know that there can be some user error on that one. So yeah, maybe just either put it in a Word doc or put it in PowerPoint and either take screenshots or just send her the PowerPoint file. And you can also save the PowerPoint as a PDF. So I would also, yeah, I would suggest using that too, because then there's nothing fancy happening in it. It's just a PDF, and she can scroll through it.
Then if I do it as a PDF, throw it on my desktop and then just drag it into my email, will work? Okay.
Yep, that should work. And that's definitely a quick way to put together like a design board or something like that.
Yeah.
That's pretty receptive to imagery, which is nice because Word is, the layout gets all weird and you have to mess with your margins. So I would say, yeah, definitely just use this. And you can even just have blank slides, throw the stuff on there, and then just export it as a PDF.
Okay. Okay. Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Anything else?
Nope. I'll go back and take the first one.
Okay. And I will send this over to Ivy for her to give to you guys, or you could just give me your emails. There's only 2 of you. If you, I have to find a pen really quick. What are your emails?
There's me.
Okay, awesome. In the chat. Perfect. And I think I answered your question, Rob, about the video. Okay. All right, I will send this over to you guys as soon as we're done. And I'll add in those links because also that website where I get the stock video from, they also have really nice stock photography that I use on a lot of things as well. And it's that same beautiful royalty-free stuff that I love so much because it is also free. So I'll send those as well. And thanks for being here, guys. I'm glad someone was here to listen to my presentation.
Thanks, Kelly. That was awesome.
Oh, hi, Ivy.
Thank you, Kelly.
You're welcome. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Goodbye. And thank you, Ivy, for keeping it going.
Everything's good. I can't complain. So
Good. Good, good, good.
all right, guys. Well, have a great rest of your day. And thanks again, Kelly. And whatever she sends me, you guys know I'll share it with you. So no problem. Or she can email it to you guys too.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, guys. If you have any questions, just go ahead and grab my email too. I'm always here to help.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. Bye, guys.